Oh, I gotta turn this off. All right, you ready?
I need to go to
the box.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna take calls so that enough people get a chance. The calls will be between 5 and 10 minutes each.
Right.
Questions will be answered as
Right.
the opportunity comes along, because I can't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? All right, you ready? We're live. We're going live. Should I turn off my fan?
The thing.
But it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, you're live. Wait.
Yeah, live.
Oh, police brutality.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? What's up?
Police brutality. Yeah. Okay.
What's up, everybody? All right, we're doing good. We're doing good on another Sunday. With Police Brutality Matters episode with the box. You know what we do? We'll put a video up. We'll talk about the video, and I'll give you my assessment, unbiased assessment as that, from my training and experience as a law enforcement officer. We'll take calls. I'm getting a lot of people who want to call in and ask questions. So what we're going to do now, going forward, we're going to limit the caller to 5 to 10 minutes, because we got to get and allow other people to actually get their questions in. We're going to be talking about the Eric Garner case today. And the reason why is because the Citizens Complaint Review Board just Thursday found that Officer Pantaleo was held liable for choking Eric Garner. Now it goes to the commissioner to figure out exactly what they want to do with the case. But I'm going to show you the clip of the incident, and I'm also going to show you what the police union is saying that Officer Pantaleo was doing. He said, the police union, Pat Lynch, is pretty much saying that it wasn't a chokehold. Regardless of what your eyes are showing you, it was not a chokehold. So what I did was...
Somebody says you're echoing. Oh, you were echoing because of that. My bad, people. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So what I did was I did some study, and I did a lot of research in reference to the seatbelt tactic, the seatbelt takedown tactic. And I found the Global Martial Arts University. They train all the time on how to actually apply this particular tactic. So what I did was, because a lot of people don't understand policies and procedures, don't understand use of force continuum. So what I did was, what I'm trying to do is show you exactly what the actual police procedures, as far as when Pat Lynch says, oh, it was a seatbelt tactic. Most people don't know what that is. So what I did was I got a video clip to explain to you what a seatbelt tactic is. So I'm gonna leave it up to you to decide whether this tactic was consistent with what we all seen that Officer Pantaleo did with Eric Garner. This video is about a 5-minute video, so take a look at it and we'll be back to talk about it.
Make sure you guys pay attention. This is Maria behind the scenes again today for a little bit. Pay attention to every little single detail so that you can state your argument.
Right, you have to pay attention to the tactics. Pay attention to where Officer Pantaleo's positioning his arm, his forearm, to the instructor when he actually demonstrates what a seatbelt takedown tactic looks like. All right, so take a look at it and we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Wait, Swaggy Swamp, what's up? Say our hellos before we go, because it's 5 minutes. Let's see, F Troop, what's up? King XCJ. Who else? R4, Raw4 Ski, R4W Sky. Who else? Chapstick joins is on.
All right.
Until it comes on. Miss Success 0001.
Just show the video.
All right. Lights.
At issue is whether Garner was placed in a chokehold, a tactic banned by New York City police.
It's defined in the department's patrol guide that this would appear to have been a chokehold.
Police officers also appeared to sit on Garner once he was on the ground, which could violate another NYPD policy.
Okay, you guys saw it. You saw exactly what a seatbelt takedown tactic looks like. Thanks to Global Martial Arts University for displaying that. I did a lot of research so you guys can have a good understanding, a good idea about exactly what Pat Lynch is trying to sell you guys when it comes down to whether it was a chokehold or not. Now, you look at that and you make your own assessment. Me personally, my many years of experience, you can't use that tactic on someone his size. Anybody who's done the training, who understands exactly how to apply that tactic, they tell you right out the gate, you cannot apply that tactic, a seatbelt takedown tactic, with someone of Eric Gardner's size. So right out the gate, he was wrong. You can't even apply that particular tactic with someone Eric's size. What do you think about it?
Well, it was very educational, just watching everything, putting the videos together and watching some of the tactics and understanding. I always thought it was a chokehold, but
Okay.
now knowing the difference, it's obvious that it was definitely a chokehold.
Right.
Based on what the global martial arts instructor said, how he was instructed on the different positioning and how it'll affect your breathing.
Right, your tracheal, everything, your windpipe. You know, the forearm should never cross the neck. And if you see in the video, his whole forearm was directly across his neck.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that, you know, it wasn't a chokehold, and I can't.
And what's his name? The officer?
Pantaleo? Officer Pantaleo?
Officer Pantaleo. He was smaller, shorter. So it would be very, 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 very difficult for him to reach over and actually position himself for the seatbelt. It looked like he attempted it, right? But he completely failed, and automatically, once his arm went like this, it became a chokehold.
That's exactly right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
because
exactly right.
He
You're
could
100%
not
right.
perform. So at that point right there, he should have just been like,
he should have abandoned trying to actually apply that tactic.
But he shouldn't have even tried it because
he shouldn't have even.
Logically, you're thinking like, all right, this dude is really big. If I have to apply this seatbelt tactic, I'm gonna have to jump on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Now my foot is dangling because I'm on his back, holding him. What are you gonna do? He's either gonna fall back on the officer. Eric is gonna fall back on the officer.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like a little common sense. You're just looking at everything overall instead of just automatically going in and then doing whatever it is at the time. All right, well, I ain't got it, so now I gotta keep going down and put him in this chokehold.
Right.
And even they were saying the other officer said, "Do you believe he was telling the truth when he said I can't breathe?" And they said, "No, I didn't believe him."
Right.
Which was crazy. Another thing that was, disheartening to see is that, I guess I get that a lot of
people,
suspects, they say they can't breathe.
Right.
And all this
or
other
the cuffs
stuff.
are too tight. There's a lot of things that goes on the streets that the average person don't see on a day-to-day that officer goes through.
But
get it?
I see that when Officer Pantaleo was bringing him down, there was a lot of movements. There were a lot of factors going into this takedown where it should have been like, okay, you know what? Maybe we need to check on him.
Right.
He is of a larger portion, size, structure, body structure. So maybe we do need to,
render first aid.
Right.
I get it.
And then they just waited so long to render the first aid.
Yeah.
Then they rolled him over, and then his body is just lifeless. You know what I'm saying? It was like a point where common sense, empathy for somebody else's well-being should have took into play, so.
I mean, we got someone that wants to join the conversation. Go ahead and join. 5 to 10 minutes, so we can get multiple people having having comments to say. So just bear with us to see if anybody wants to. I've seen a few people that said they wanted to join.
He left.
Okay. Come on and
No.
Actually, he's here actually.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we'll get back to some of these responses.
Is he young?
No.
All right, but yeah, it was murder.
Huh?
Murder.
Oh yeah.
And it was obvious from everybody else, but that damn police chief, Pat Lynch.
Yeah, the union president.
Oh, he's so oblivious to whatever's going on. It's like whatever.
Yeah, Pat Lynch has always defended bad policing. I think he hurts the relationship between the community and police. You know, no one is 100%. Sometimes you got to say, look, hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey, I just like to say a couple things about that.
All right, go. Come on. Come on.
You don't even know how to speak English properly.
Yo, it's so
If
sad.
you're gonna come on here and come correct, if you're gonna try to play us,
Block him too.
do it properly.
Yo, that was it just shows you how intelligent dude was. His whole vocabulary was messed up.
Right.
Yo, anybody else want to join? Anybody got something to say? That was funny. This is comedy, right?
Right. Anyway,
Go ahead.
somebody said they're probably gonna give him parole. I don't know. I see that because it went to the civilian side.
Yeah, Civilian Complaint Review Board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they found him guilty in the civilian complaint board.
Yeah.
So now it's the commissioner.
Right, so
The new
it's not
commissioner.
a criminal case. It's not a criminal trial. That's just a departmental hearing, and pretty much the CCRB, they investigate it. They come with their own findings, and they make a recommendation to the actual commissioner, and it's up to the commissioner to whether he wants to accept the findings and the recommendation or makes his own. But
The commissioner.
yeah, the commissioner of the police
Now
department.
this is a new commissioner though.
Right.
The initial commissioner, what was his last name?
Bratton,
Said it was a chokehold.
right?
Do we know anything about the new commissioner as far as
He's
like,
saying that
his-
it's during the investigation. We're gonna find out after the investigation. Then I'll make my stance on how I feel about it.
Did he
But
ever
he's letting the investigation take its course.
Did he ever make a stance?
I haven't seen. All I know is him saying it's under investigation. Let it take its course, which is very common when it's under investigation
I
because you
know.
don't want to tamper or persuade somebody. You got
Yeah.
somebody else?
Tone want to join.
All right, go ahead. Let Tone join.
Thanks, Grimmy Boy 3X. He says, I fuck with y'all movement. We need more people like y'all.
All right, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Tone, what's up? You got anything to say about it? Tone, you there?
You sound like
Yeah, that don't sound good at all.
Bad.
like
That-
out of
okay.
space.
He's outside.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to call back. This is sounding kind
and
of
his buffer.
Yeah, and his
we
buffer.
buffering or
No,
he's
he
buffering? He's buffering, okay.
All right.
Alright, so Danny _ Tapu, sorry to hear about your dad. Oh wow. He said my dad was shot by cops 5 days ago.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. Sorry
Definitely.
to hear about that. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead. Tone. We're gonna have to go to the next one because we can't hear you, man.
Alright, Nicholas
All right.
Navarez. My cousin got shot by a cop. Sorry to hear that.
That's
I
right.
think a lot of people's gonna have a lot of testimonies.
Anybody want to come on and explain an incident that they was involved in reference to the use of, the police using force against them? You can join. I'm receiving a lot of comments.
Turn it back around. Okay. 714. He flipped it by accident. That Mahad, Android. He's talking about Tone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the Android phone.
Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
Danny, why cops always feel like they gotta use their guns?
Why cops always feel like that's, I think, when an officer goes for his gun, you're trained to only have your gun when your alert level or your fear level is high. So if you had an officer who's in fear all the time, you're going to see him using, putting his hand on his gun, pulling his gun out. And if, like I always tell a lot of cops, if you're that scared, this ain't the job for you. So every time you see a cop reach for his gun, right, or he pulls out his gun, that means his alert level, according to training and procedures, his alert level is elevated so high that he's in fear now that he may have to use his firearm. So that's what you see when it comes down to officer using his gun. So just think about it. Every time you see officer use a gun, he pulls out his gun, that should be your last option when you start talking about using force. They train you, that firearm should be your final option, and your life should be at risk or someone else's. So when you start seeing, officers using their gun or pulling out their gun, the fear level's high.
Okay, Danny, again, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Said thanks.
All right.
Please pray for my family.
Yes.
Definitely.
Of course.
All police brutality. Every time I see these videos, I'm just, saddened.
Right.
Okay, Game Green says much love.
Thanks.
Love what y'all do. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
R4W Ski. I think cops should run a timed 440, then get tackled and cuffed to see what it is like. What is training like when it comes to?
Oh, and it's crazy because in the academy you're running so much, and every day physical fit, and then when you come out, you don't have to maintain that, and that's so crazy.
Yes.
That's extremely crazy. So, you in the beginning, you may physically be able to chase somebody down and not be so exhausted. And then you got years on the job, and you see a lot of these cops, they get guts, they start losing weight. They can't run like they used to. So if you require them to run a little bit, they're going to get exhausted. Or that same approach that you might have had when you first got out is totally different now that you overweight.
Okay, that you say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the military, we have performance fitness tests, physical fitness tests every 6 months.
Right.
So basically you get timed on your 3 minutes.
Right.
You have to do your crunches. And now for females, you actually have to do pull-ups. But for females, it was hang time. And then for males, it was pull-ups.
Right.
And that's every 6 months. If you don't pass, you get put on remedial.
Right.
After a few remedials, you will actually be discharged.
Right.
Without an honor, other than
That
honorable.
would be so hot for the police department.
Yeah.
I think you would lose a lot of officers.
Okay, seriously.
Yeah, that would definitely be.
And overweight military personnel, you have remedial, and I think you have a couple of remedials, and then you will be discharged.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine? You'll probably lose like a large portion
of
law enforcement. I wouldn't say every 6 months, I'd say every year you should be able to have to go back and pass PT tests. You have to maintain your physical. You got to run, you got to chase people down, you might have to use defensive tactics. And what happens is you have so much so much time on the job, you start losing, right, your ability to actually perform. So you start taking these shortcuts when it comes down to using defensive tactics. When you was in the beginning, when you was in shape, you was able to arm bar somebody to the ground, use the proper rope. Now you years in, you're overweight and you're trying to do the same thing and you can't do it no more. Right. So you start compensating, you start cheating, and you start having these accidents. Go ahead.
Tone will try joining.
All right, try Tone joining again.
Can you delete Xeno, the kid?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
I got this.
He got it.
All right. Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Finally. That's fine.
I can hear you. Go ahead. Hello?
I'm having audio problems. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. One of the members said, "Is your Android?" One of the supporters was like, "You gotta upgrade your phone, man."
We've been telling him to upgrade for months.
Go ahead,
now.
hurry up and say something before your phone shuts
Well,
off.
I'm going to try and log back in and see if I can hear you guys, but I'm having a very difficult time.
He can't hear us. You
Yeah.
can't heir us?
We can hear you. Tell him we can hear him.
Okay, moving on. Let's see. All right.
How about now?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow, you guys can, but I can't hear you at all. It's a whisper.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so tell him just explain we can hear him clear. So tell him just explain what he had to explain about that regarding the case.
All right, let me log out, log back in. I'll see if I can try to hear you guys, but I really can't hear anything.
Till you sue them. Right.
All right, Danny asks, he says, cop shot my dad in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even have a gun. He lives in San Leandro
California.
by Oakland. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
That one. And can he sue? Can we sue them?
Yeah, you can sue for anything that you possibly could think of. A lot of cases that come up before it's lawsuits, but whether you can win or not is another question. And when people contact me all the time, we've had lawyers reach out to Police Brutality Matters and support what we do, and we have a list of attorneys that we refer people who ask questions about suing. So in the DM, just send me whatever it is that you're interested in pursuing, whether it's a lawsuit. Just let me know what state it is in. We'll match the state according to the attorney in that area and refer you to them, and you can go and tell them your case. And if you have a good case, I'm quite sure you're not going to have a problem with any attorney representing you.
All right.
Copy Queen want to join in.
All right, let Copy Queen join in.
I'll read it after. She's on? Or reference?
It's not in yet. It's just waiting.
Okay, so Nicholas, he said thanks. Oh, she's on.
Hey, Confident Queen. Hey, Confident Queen, what's going on?
I'm just taking care of a few things. Been a little bit busy, but I just wanted to say thank you, and that I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. You're one of the few that don't try and make excuses for bad behavior of the other cops or bad cops.
Right.
I know they're not all bad, but the ones that are bad and the ones that turn a blind eye make it bad and look bad for most cops.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that, because a lot of people who don't see good policing and all they see is bad policing, it's easy to form that opinion, that viewpoint. You got a lot of officers out here, like my friend Edward Raymond, the NYPD 12, they sued the police department in the city for trying to make them target the black and brown community. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But you get people that don't see that and just believe that everybody's out here that, is just doing bad things and there is no good cops. I talk to high school kids and, I have kids come up to me saying, you know what? I totally agree and I understand. So when I get there, I'm going to make a change. But we as a community have to understand that, because if we don't, we're not even giving the next generation who see the problem the opportunity to start making a change. You have to allow good policing to present itself. Because if you automatically got the mindset of, everybody's bad, this narrative will never change.
I agree with you, and I can kind of see both sides of it, you know what I mean? Where people really, because of their experiences and the experiences of their families and things like that, even myself having bad experiences with cops, and that's why I'm not comfortable. I don't care even if they driving past me, not just thinking about me, because of my experiences with them. For an example, I have an older child, and when he would come and visit me in a certain community, he can be walking down the street minding his business, and they'll just nicely move their car over and stop, ask him for his ID. And when he would ask them, what do you need my ID for? Oh, well, we got a report of something that happened in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I call the police station and ask them, well, did this happen? They have no idea what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just them trying to flex and be bullies.
Yeah.
Probably because they were bullies.
Yeah.
They want to, try to flex that bag. It's not cool at all.
I totally agree, because before I became a cop, like I said time and time again, I come from low, poor income projects. The police, they policed our neighborhoods excessively aggressive. And I felt just like everybody in my community felt. They was the enemies, and there's no such thing as a good cop, because as a child, I didn't see that good cop. I didn't know that good cop. So I took the mindset of, you know what, I'm gonna join and I'm gonna see exactly why these cats are so aggressive. Like, why y'all looking at my community so wild? Like, oh yeah, we've had bad elements, because anytime you got poverty, you're gonna have a form of a criminal element. But not everybody that's from my neighborhood was a criminal. Like, it's a small percent of criminals who wreak havoc in my neighborhood. But they looked at all of us as we was all like that. And that, you know.
And it actually deters people nowadays from even wanting to be, in that field.
Yeah.
I know I was looking at the news recently, and in this one state, this one town, the one of the lead people there was saying that this is the lowest as far as applications that he have had since he's been on the force for over 30 years. He said that he don't know if it's the pay, he just don't know if it's the danger, he don't know if it's the publicity. I mean, but it could be a number of those things, but it's mainly, in my opinion, what they see on TV.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people really hate cops.
Yeah.
Because of their bully, mentality.
Yeah.
You want respect, but you don't want to talk to us with respect.
Right.
You want respect, but you don't want to treat our children with respect.
Yep. You are 100% right.
It can't go that way.
You are 100% right. And recruitment is down nationwide. I was reading an article about the same thing that you were describing. It's down, it's low. Who wants to go into that field under this environment? That is crazy. Nobody wants to go in under this environment. Like, everybody hates you. Everybody hates that you come in contact with.
Absolutely.
That's
One of my children were trying to be recruited to be an officer, and I told that particular child, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because even as
whatever you want to do, but I just don't. Right now, this day and time, in my opinion, it's just not a good time.
Yeah, it's not. And you gotta look at the time that we are living today. It's just bad, because you got people like Pat Lynch, who he is one of the main problems that we have, the relationship we have when it comes down to the police and the community. He doesn't know how to identify bad policing. Every incident that I've ever seen him comment on, he backs the officer. Like, dude,
and
like.
That's what most people do.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it be the judges, whether it be the DA's office, whether it be their supervisors, they'll actually stand there and watch their other officers do something wrong and just not say anything, and they are the supervisor.
Right.
They're so comfortable with disrespecting people that they will just, you can ask for a supervisor and they'll laugh at you.
Right. And I think that has a lot to do with.
They're very disrespectful.
That has a lot to do with the culture, and the culture of policing has never changed. So I think if we implement new accountability measures, that will change policing. You know, the policing has been established years ago, and it never really changed. So we have to change that.
I think that in order for that to work, I think everyone has to be on board with that.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a crooked police officer and a crooked judge.
Right.
Because that means everything that he does, when someone tries to sue or bring that matter before the judge, then the judge is going to side with them no matter what, even if they're wrong. I mean, now people actually have video footage.
Yeah.
Of people, of these cops doing things, and they're still acquitted.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the only thing I can say, and to shed a little bit of light on this, is now if you got to think about it, you see more officers now getting arrested, you see more officers now getting fired, suspended. It's nowhere near where it should be. But if you compare now to 10 years ago, where it didn't exist, you see some form of a change when it's holding officers accountable. By far, it's nowhere where it should be, but you see officers getting arrested. The lawsuits is over $1 billion. Before, you couldn't even get paid from getting beat down because nobody believes you. Now, since everybody got a video camera, you see way more payouts.
I think also because now a lot of these supervisors or they know they're being watched, so they're like, oh hell no, we need to get this guy out of here.
Right,
You know,
right.
we
It's
need to do
pressuring them.
something.
It's putting them on the spot to now do something. Because before you didn't have that evidence.
But you know, even I think that some of them are so confident or have been doing what they've been doing for so long
Yeah.
that even though they know they're being filmed or there's a possibility that they're
They
being
don't
filmed,
care.
they just don't care.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't care.
And you know, I thought once we had the cameras, I thought it would change a lot, but it just seemed like they just like, so what?
Right.
Let's record.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they're putting on a show
Right, right.
for.
Again, I want to thank you guys. I love the platform. I love what you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Love
appreciate
you.
it.
We appreciate you so much.
Yes, you are a big supporter, and we appreciate everything that you do for us.
I'm gonna get off here so someone else can have the opportunity.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
What?
Is it off?
No, go ahead. Anybody else want to comment, ask a question, go live?
Okay, so I'm going. Okay, Nicholas said thanks. His father or his cousin was shot because he pulled out his passport and they thought it was a gun just because he put his hand in his pocket. It was when he was coming back to El Paso, Texas. That's always the case.
Yeah. You guys got a lawyer? Because y'all definitely gonna need a lawyer for that.
Right.
If you don't have a lawyer, DM me and I'll refer a lawyer to you because that's crazy.
Why is it automatically assumed I'm reaching in my pocket
Yeah.
that I have a weapon? Like, we all just have weapons. We all just carrying pistols and rifles and all this other
Yeah.
stuff, and
Is
it's
that-
automatic.
It's that fear level. I'm telling you, it's that fear level.
You shouldn't have that job.
Yeah. You got to be able to identify who's bad, who's not, who's dangerous, who's not. There's certain elements that a person gives off. There's certain criteria, demeanors. You got to be able to read people's body language, and that was big. So if you got people coming in from the outside, policing a community of people that they don't even understand, it's hard for them to read that language. You don't know how many times I got to big blow up debates when people say Eric Gardner was going to fight. Yo, I could not. I was like, "Are you sick?" You look at Eric Gardner. He was like, "Yo, look at him. Look at his hands." He was like, "Officer, would you leave me alone?"
Right.
They was like, "Look."
Slap him or something like that?
I was like, "That's so bad that you think
was
that dude was
nothing.
right."
That was just he was just bothered.
Yeah.
He was annoyed.
Right. He was
because
frustrated.
He was constantly being
That's
harassed
right.
for the same thing. And then can you imagine being harassed that day for something you were not doing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was so persistent about, well, you were selling cigarettes. You did not see me. You did not see
Right.
the transaction.
And it's crazy that the whole world, right?
That's all they know.
The guy who was selling cigarettes, he was
Yes.
not selling cigarettes. There's no evidence to show that Eric Gardner was selling cigarettes that day. He had on his criminal record, right, violations of selling cigarettes, being arrested of selling cigarettes. So what happens was when you get in trouble by the police, right, and there's something like this that blows up media, first thing the police department does is go grab your criminal record, and then they start just bang, bang, bang. Whatever you got happened in the past, they try to relate it to the incident. It's called character assassination. I wrote about it in my book, Police Brutality Matters, which is on Amazon. So you got to go get that so you can understand what I'm talking about. We need to attack your character so the rest of the public can look at you as, oh, he was just a bad guy anyway. He got arrested. Why you don't see the officer's record be attacked?
Right.
You don't see how many complaints he has.
Right.
You don't see how many
Right.
why? Why?
Until
If you want to be fair about it, let's be fair about it.
Until a news station goes and investigates and puts that information out there, you won't hear about any prior or what we posted one and he had 175
complaints.
Complaints
He had 175. Nobody knew.
cases.
Yeah, that was
You know what I
crazy.
mean?
That was crazy. That was definitely crazy. So you gotta really understand the system and understand how it works, so you can actually fight back, because what we see is bad. Like Eric Gardner, and I debated this. Remember I debated this with that retired sheriff, and he was like, "Well, he was selling cigarettes." I said, "What evidence was it?" Who did he sell cigarettes to? Where the money? Where was the cigarettes?
transaction.
Where was that whole thing? That whole transaction? The evidence that would support a conviction in court. There's no bit of evidence to show that day he was selling cigarettes. That day he was actually breaking up a fight.
Right.
He wasn't even selling
And
cigarettes.
that's probably why he was frustrated.
Even if that's his hustle, right? Say he does sell cigarettes, that's how he make his money. That one particular incident had nothing to do with him selling cigarettes.
So I have a question for you for that is, do you believe, well, I know this already. So because they already had a history of him selling cigarettes, their mindset was already set. It was already determined. We're going to get him for that. No matter what he did, it was kind of like premeditated.
Nah, you know what I think?
Not premeditated murder, but premeditation of anything he says, regardless of what he says, regardless of what he was doing, if it doesn't relate to cigarettes, because we had that interaction with him constantly being called for that. Their mind, that's it, it's set.
Right. Let me tell you what I think, right? And then we can go from there. And I try to give you guys unbiased policy procedures information, right? I try to keep my personal views or opinions out of it, unless I'm asked like right now, right? So what I'm telling you is what me as a law enforcement officer, having the experience and watching exactly the event that happened, they went to question him, right, about the incident that happened, because there was 911 calls about a fight. Eric didn't want to talk to them, right? One thing that a cop hates, right, is when they're trying to talk to you and you don't want to talk to them. Or if I'm telling you something and you legally have no right to stop me and you just leave, they hate that. And if you look at the whole incident between Eric Garner, he's like, why? All of a sudden, they just said, because we know that you sell cigarettes. He's like, when? Who did I sell? Look at the questions that Eric said. Who did I sell cigarettes to? You know why? Because Eric been arrested before. He knows that they had to find somebody, right, or send somebody in, or grab somebody that they witnessed, purchase cigarettes from him, grab cigarettes, grab money, and make their case. Eric knew that, so he said he knew that he wasn't selling cigarettes. He was like, who? You can't even answer me. No, leave me alone. Stop bothering me. I'm going about my way. And then all of a sudden, let me see your ID. Let me see, for what? Why I gotta show you my ID for? I ain't do nothing. This is what the frustration of Eric Garner, this is what happened when you see that whole interaction. So the cops, they didn't have a damn thing to stop him on. So they quickly knew, right? He's a guy that they dealt with in the past, that they dealt with selling illegal cigarettes.
Okay.
None of that applies.
To
right?
that day.
Right.
So let's go to where everybody's asking if we saw when they see us. Yes.
Yes, when they see us. Yes. I've seen it. She's seen it.
Yes.
All the kids have seen, everybody. Yeah, that's you have some people that still believe, right?
That they were good, that they're
guilty. That just drives me crazy.
Now with the Eric Garner, you know how police have quotas, and technically you could say that they were targeting these black kids on that particular day.
Right.
Was that for numbers? Was it because they needed numbers?
If you getting pressured, right? If you getting pressured, right, to go out and produce numbers, and the numbers are not there, you're gonna have incidents like that.
Would you compare that to also Eric
Garner?
Would it be one of those things? It's like, okay,
definitely.
let's find something.
We gotta go out and we gotta target, right, brown and black people, right? Because this is what Raymond. This is what his whole fight.
Yo, watch Crime and Punishment as well. It really goes with when they see us talking about police quotas and how they target brown and black and brown communities and the numbers that they need to make. His IG is at e.raymond, RAYMOND, and the documentary, and it's really not set like a documentary. It's basically just.
I really need y'all to go and watch this documentary. Y'all gonna get blown out the water when it comes down to
when they see us.
Understanding why the police do what they do, why black and brown people are targeted. You got my boy. I met him. We talked for a long time. And you got to take your hats off. He's actively involved in a lawsuit against the city of New York and the police department, saying, yo, I'm not targeting black and brown people because you want to get numbers. When you do that, you forcing officers to go out, right, and target black and brown people. That's it. You're not targeting any other race. But then you want to throw numbers to say police have so much more contact. Yeah, they have more contact because that's the only people you're targeting. If I just target whites, the numbers will be exactly even higher because their population is higher. It's all a game. The system is bad, and Edward Raymond is actively on the job right now, and he's fighting that fight. So you really need to look at that documentary called Crime and Punishment.
It's on Hulu.
Yes, it's on Hulu. He recorded conversations that he. Oh, you should really. It's going to give you a whole new outlook when it comes down to understanding about why the officers do what they do and
how it relates to when they see us.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
You have to see that. That's another powerful documentary.
But when they see us, it made me angry. It made me.
Yeah, that joint.
It made me angry. Like extreme. I can't even express it because it was just so sad. Where you have, when you look at, you have kids that are 14 to 16. And you're sitting back watching it as if you're watching your own kids, and how much pressure they were under to lie.
Yeah.
They were coerced. Being there for 48 hours, no food, no water, not being able to talk to your family.
You said I would like to talk. If you like to talk,
yeah, if you like to talk,
just make a request. We'll get you a part of the conversation. Who's that? What's the Baggett? Spam. Okay. So just make a request and we'll add you a part of the conversation.
So basically, it's like seeing your own child going through it, and then seeing those. Oh my God, it was heartbreaking. Seeing them lying, but the lie made no sense.
Right.
And how they edited those recordings.
Yeah, that was crazy.
To fit their narrative.
Yeah, which was bad, which was so bad. You look at it and go, yo, these are cops like.
Right. Don't you have kids? Don't you have kids?
No compassion.
And then
what's
her name? The lady?
The district attorney?
She was adamant. Adamant.
Yeah. And she's still to this day.
Someone wants to join.
Go ahead, let them join.
Adamant.
She's still to this day.
Guilt.
Make sure you got it on. If they start to do, which is delete them, block them, whatever. Because we ain't got time for people who's not mature enough to hold these conversations.
And you know what's disappointing is everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
I understand all this police brutality because I just started watching it like a month ago, and it's just really messed up. I seen where a cop stomped on a black person's head for no reason and shot 2 dudes while he was sleeping.
Yeah. That I mean, the only thing you can think of when you see things like that is how bad it is. And I know you sound pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 12.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing that you're even following the conversation. So I really appreciate young people. I talk to kids all the time, and I explain to them exactly how to stay safe when you're dealing with, excessive aggressive cops who fear you, and you always see them with their guns. So, when you start talking about how to survive, we have these conversations, and I'm gonna start having once a month, like a teen conversation with a bunch of teens, and we talk about pretty much what you need to do to stay alive when you deal with an excessive aggressive officer, one officer that might see you as a threat, and his threat level's high. So
I got a question. How do you feel when you see a police officer, or if they've ever approached you or your family? How do you feel? What are you going through emotionally when you come in contact with a cop, or you see a cop, or even watching these videos?
Yeah, he left.
Seriously? That you can't even be
I know.
sincere.
Hey, we only can do what we do. We give the information.
It hurts. It like when I hear kids calling, it's like, I'm glad they're listening, watching, learning.
Right. Because this is a real conversation. This is a. You have to be mature. You don't like it? Turn the page. Go to another IG page that fits your brain. Because I just don't understand how you come on and you say dumb things and this is not what you're interested in. Go to another IG account.
Keep it moving.
Anybody else wanna join when it comes down to? Anybody has anything to add when it comes down to the conversation? Here's your time, because I don't know how much time we have left, but We have
Okay, so we have a question. Taliban Zay. Okay. Are y'all for police brutality or against? So, I mean, I guess defining what police brutality matters.
right. We're totally against police brutality, excessive aggressive policing. We're against it. Period.
So tell what this means that we
Go ahead.
created. We came up. Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, because
You helped design
helped
it.
design it.
Yeah.
I did the initial and then a lot of editing. So this is a police badge, obviously, and as you can tell, this is exactly how
The badge.
a badge would look.
Mhm.
So the crack is in the badge is the crack in the system,
Right.
and this is kind of like a tape to bridge the gap together.
Right.
The brutality,
Right.
fixing the crack.
Bridging the gap together.
Bridging the gap together.
Because
to
it's
fix.
divided. You know, you got one side, the police has the mentality of police them, protect us, and then you got the citizens saying, I don't like them because all I see is negative policing.
Right.
So we have a fine line in between the shield. So when an officer is killed in line of duty, you have a black tape that goes across the badge in memory of the actual fallen officer. So we have the brutality that went across our badge for the victims of police brutality. And as a reminder, look, this is a fight. I mean, we're gonna keep fighting until we actually change the narrative. And there's a lot behind the scenes that's going on. And we will continually fight when it comes down to police brutality. Anybody else got a question?
So where do we send the questions? You can send questions in the DM.
Right.
We'll try to get to it as
Somebody else?
Tell him trying to come in again.
All right, go ahead.
we'll try to get to the questions as soon as we can, but we have a small team to do everything. What's the documentary called? If you're talking about Crime and Punishment on Hulu.
Right.
Edwin Raymond.
Right.
His last name is Raymond. Obviously, say the last name first. But Edwin Raymond, his IG is at e.raymond, RAYMOND. Oh yeah, I could put that in there. And the documentary is called Crime and Punishment.
Right. So make sure you follow. Matter of fact, log onto his IG page, follow, support him. I mean, he's a good cop. I mean, he's just not a cop that stopped a bad cop for being a bad cop. He took it even further than that. He sued the city and saying, listen, I'm not targeting black and brown people to get quotas, to get numbers up, because that's where the problem's at. So when you start thinking about where the good cops at, log onto his page, support his movement. We're going to collaborate on a lot of things. I talk to him on a weekly basis, and hopefully we can change that narrative. But really check his page out, check his movement out, support him. He's really a good dude. He's an official dude. He's on the front line inside. He is crazy because when I started this, I received threats. He's a lieutenant in the police department. He's still receiving threats. To this day, we talk about threats that he recently just received. So it comes with a price. I mean, when you start fighting the system, people's not gonna like that. But somebody gotta fight it. Go ahead.
Okay, so are you guys advocates or do you guys play a role within the system?
We definitely advocates. We want to play a role in the system. That's why we're drafting a bad cop bill that's going to change the system. So we're 7-8 months in. We got a lot of things that we're getting approved for within the next 3 weeks. As soon as I get approval, I'm gonna come back to y'all and I'll present to y'all. We're compiling a team full of attorneys who's gonna help with the bad cop bill, and that should, we're gonna put on the floor, get some votes, get support, and we need your support as well when it comes down to, if y'all want to see change, we gotta hold these elected officials accountable. Let's put this bill on the floor and let's see what happens. Let's demand accountability.
Your battery's low.
Oh, okay.
Okay, how much time we have? Because then we're just gonna. Okay. So I know I've been talking about this podcast. It's up. I'm gonna screenshot how to download it from your phone, and still trying to test it out just to make sure everything works. But a lot of these questions that are in here, we'll discuss them on a podcast. Like one of them is, are you guys? No, not that one. What are your thoughts on the FBI labeling black groups as black extremists?
That's crazy. I mean, if you can't prove that they black extremists, then why would you label that? It's, I mean, come on now. We've had KKK white supremacy group for years. Have you ever seen them labeled? And you have the elements to label that
A terrorist.
Like, come on now. That don't even, unless you can provide some hardcore
Evidence.
to support it, then I'm totally against it. And I'm all right on wrong. If black is wrong for whatever it is, you will hear me call it out. I'm not going to be, oh, because of this, then I'm only going to side on that. People have sent videos that I've said, look, the officers follow protocol, they follow procedures. I'm not here to bash law enforcement. They got it right. I will tell you they got it right and prove and tell you why I believe that it was right. Everything on my page, I can prove it's wrong. I have the experience. I understand the use of force continuum. I know what an officer can and can't do. And my assessment is unbiased and is based on my knowledge and experience as a police officer. If officer has it right, I'll be the first one to tell you. And I've debated that many times because I'm from low income area where I grew up hating the cops because I was victimized. And then I joined the police department, so I see exactly what the problem is from both sides. So I'm going to give you an unbiased assessment when it comes down to rating when I see a police incident.
And I'm going to give you a biased opinion.
She's a little. We battle all day long when it comes down.
But
and I will tell you why.
It's based on my experience being in the military and the rules and regulations and policies and procedures that we have to follow to a T, or we will be reprimanded.
Yeah.
You know, like why? Again, I'm always going to say this. Why are we not equal in accountability when it comes to policing and the military?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe if police fell in the same scrutiny and accountability as the military, you wouldn't have the problems that we have.
Right.
I totally, because they, from what you explained, they couldn't get away with half the things they get away with.
And you know, some of the bad apples that are in the police, unfortunately, are prior military, but it's because they know they can get away with it outside because they couldn't.
Right, they couldn't get away with it.
They slid under the radar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I totally
now they come out. Now they have all this aggression, especially if you were in combat. You come back with all this aggression, PTSDs, everything, and then you go into the police. Where you know it's allowed, you won't get in trouble until it catches up to you. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah. Somebody's on, Tone.
I'm trying to get at least stay on, but it keeps black.
How much more time we got?
We're about to.
How do you check that?
You know how much more time we got?
How do you check that?
Click on the live.
It says 13, 14 something.
No, that's followers.
No.
Anybody? Wait, we have somebody. How many people are on your team? And are you talking really fast with the bill or whatever?
Okay, how many people are on your team and you are talking very fast, but the bill or whatever, how far is that going to be effective across more than just one state? So if you buy the book, Police Brutality Matters on Amazon, Joseph Ested, it gives you all the information about the bad cop bill, but we'll also be addressing it on the podcast.
Right.
Which is going to be fire. But we're going to be addressing that on the podcast. I think we talk fast because we're from New York.
So we try to slow it down a little bit so you can understand.
I think it's that New York.
Within the bill, within the book, basically is recommendations on how to correct the problems with policing. And every chapter, every incident, I give recommendations because I was a part of it. I hear exactly what the inner blue wall talks about and what would change the blue wall when it comes down to accountability. So I looked at that and understood exactly what it is when it comes down to policing, and I created recommendations of how to fix the problem. And we're gonna put, and we're in the middle of, and I tell people, how would you like to see your officer held accountable? Send me in your DM, and a few people have already. I would like to see this, I would like to see that. And if it's feasible to put in a bad cop bill, then that's what we do.
All right, we probably have about 2 minutes.
We might have about 3 minutes. Tone, you there?
I'm right here.
So Tone,
Okay, go ahead. Since you can close it out, since you took all day to hop on.
mean, I'm glad I'm here with you guys.
You get to give the closing remark.
Y'all want to talk about that? Tell it, Marie. Tell it like it is.
No, I said you get to give the closing remark because we're about to be done.
Okay. No, it's unfortunate. Well, let me give a shout out to all the PBM followers, the supporters, and everybody out there. It's unfortunate. You know, you got the police unions and other supporters who are saying, "Don't believe your lying eyes, but believe what I'm telling you." You are hearing from experts, from a medical examiner to people who do defensive tactics professionally. They're telling you what it was relating to the Eric Garner case. And you see with your own two eyes with the video what occurred. And yet, you have people who are supporting and trying to do this, I don't know what this spin about what it wasn't. It is so unfortunate. And it's really sad to say how it's happening in Staten Island. How do you not get a very, very nice
Tone.
Hey, you're all messed up, Tone. Your phone is all done.
Tone says.
Yeah, get that Android, as everybody's saying. Yo, we can barely hear you, but once again, thanks for joining another episode with Police Brutality Matters, a segment called The Box. We love the support. We love people asking how can we help, because we definitely need more and more people to help with the cause, because this project is huge. This project is extremely huge, because you're talking about changing the culture that's been around since 1838. So it's going to take a lot of support.
And everybody doing their part and getting information out to us.
So yes, if you want to join the team and you want to help, DM me your information, and I'll see exactly what you can actually do depending on what your experience is.
That's it. It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's done. You had a total of 358 viewers.
Oh, wow.
That was cool. Until the dude came.